Hi guys, welcome to our Brayge Sports and Fitness football referee and coach tutorial to get you ready for our season. We're so happy that you're out there, that you've taken the time to watch this video and learn and volunteer your time to be out there with those young players. And my theory is always that the field and the court are always the best classrooms. So you're taking a step um, when you step into this coaching and referee role, that you're really a teacher to these young players and a role model to them. So we thank you, and just keep that in mind, that you're playing a big role in these young lives, even though it's a short season. But we couldn't do it without you, and we think that at the end of the season, you're going to really look back on it and be happy that you did it. And please know that you're making a big impact on these lives. So we thank you. And let's step into uh, our Brayge football season so you are prepared. Okay. The first thing we're going to go over are the rules. We do things a little bit different. But after this short video, you'll understand how we do things and you'll be ready to play. Okay, so we'll do a maximum of 7 players per team on the field at any given time. In the past, we've done 5-on-5, but with the wider fields and our play cards now, I have less concern of players crisscrossing patterns, which increases the chance of injury. So we will allow for a 7-on-7 at a time. Rotate the players frequently, making sure every player gets as much playing time as possible. There's different ways to do this. Sometimes I prefer to tap in 2 so that players can go in and tap somebody. Sometimes it's easier to let a group finish a series, but you need to be paying attention, because if you rotate players at the end of a series, then you'll have the same players on offense and the same players on defense the whole game, and that's not what you want. So pay attention how you rotate your players. I like to keep the players that are out of the game on the side next to the line of scrimmage. That way you know where they are. You can pull them in quickly. Rotate them quickly every 2 plays. Try not to let it be too long. We don't want those players out for too much time. Okay. And finish the series. Always finish the series. We have a finish time at the top of the hour. Typically, our game is about 45 minutes, but that's not a hard clock. We don't want the players to drive down and then have the clock blown on. Let them finish out the series. If it ends on downs, or it ends on an interception, or it ends with a touchdown, that's great. Ideally, the team that's down, we would like them to have the final chance to score, so their final chance with the ball on offense. Ideally is how that plays out. We don't have kickoffs or punts, but the team with the ball will start back at their goal line typically. So the kickoffs and punts increase the chance of injury, and it's a little bit time consuming. So we don't have either of those. Each new possession starts at the team's own goal line. So they'll go back to their goal line, and that's where the line of scrimmage will be. If there's an interception, or if there's a flag pulled, we don't have a safety. All we do is we count that as a down, as a play, and then the ball goes back to the goal line. So now we do have exceptions. League A may start at the first down marker closest to their end zone. And that's if the coaches are in agreement. Sometimes it's the players that get a little bit tired of going on such a long field with the A-League. So if the coaches are in agreement and wish to start at the first down marker closest to their end zone, that's fine. If you find that the players enjoy having that big field and have ample energy, then by all means use the whole field as long as everyone is in agreement. Also, a referee may allow a team to start from their first down marker closer to their end zone if they're behind by 3 or more touchdowns. We really don't want a game to get out of hand, and it can be demoralizing when you're at your own goal line and you throw a pick six and then you throw another pick six. So we will allow this going forward, that a team can go out there and start at their first down line. Okay. We are changing this going forward. We used to do things a little bit differently, but now going forward, we're going to have a quick huddle. The coach will stand with his or her back to the defense, so right there close to the line of scrimmage, maybe a few yards off, and they will show the play card with the routes, with the quarterback in the middle and the receivers on the respective sides, in the way that they're going to line up in line of scrimmage. So as a coach, you can go up there with your play card and show the card to them as they are looking, as the players are looking toward the field. That way they'll be able to imagine the image, see the image, and then imagine the route in front of them. So as the quarterback stands in the middle, and then the closest receiver on the play card will stand closest to the quarterback, and then the farthest receiver will stand the farthest away, so they know their positions, and when they break, they'll go out in the order that they were lined up next to the quarterback. So it just keeps things simple. That way the quarterback looks immediately to the right and knows that that receiver is going to be closest to them on the right, and so on. Okay, so it's quick. It gives the coach a chance to be involved in the game and making sure that we don't have crossing routes. That's the important thing. And that the players understand the routes and what they're to do. There are different ways to do that. You can show a play card and you can cover up all the routes if you want all the players to do the same route and show just that route. That's possible. If you decide you want all your players to do the 2 route, just say, this is the route we're doing, point to it, cover up the rest of the routes. So there are different ways you can do that we don't have to worry about players not knowing the route because they didn't memorize it and accidentally crisscrossing. Okay. The quarterbacks may not cross the line of scrimmage with the ball. At no point have we ever had it that the quarterbacks are allowed to run the ball. This is a team sport, and we're going to keep it a team sport. Even if the opposing team crosses the line of scrimmage to pull the flag, still the quarterback may not run. It's a team sport. They need to pass the ball. An interception may be advanced, and it will not return to the intercepting team goal line. At whatever point they get their flag pulled, it is at that point that the new line of scrimmage starts. If the interception is taken in for a touchdown, it's a pick six. We'll count that as a touchdown, but it is to be advanced. On the other hand, fumbles are blown dead immediately upon touching the ground and are not to be advanced. We do not want players fighting for balls on the ground. We do not want players losing their teeth, breaking fingers. We want to keep the ball in the air where it's fun. Okay. Each team receives 4 downs or chances to get to each field marker for a first down. There's 2 lines out there that are first down lines. There's also markers to show where they are, but each team, if they're starting at their goal line, will have 2 chances to get first downs and then to make it into the opposing team end zone. Um, Try to keep the players lined up with a similar size and ability of the opposing team. This is referees and coaches paying attention to this. It's pretty standard that we would want this, but sometimes it's not always that easy to pay attention to. Different players have different talents, and the obvious size difference might not be the appropriate lineup, that might not be the appropriate matchup. Okay, so just be aware you might have to change things as the game goes on, but we want to keep each player challenged appropriately. Keep the games competitive. If the teams prove to be uneven, talk with the opposing coach about moving a player or two. Not always easy, I get that. But sometimes it's the easiest for the game just doing one little switch, because one team might have three really talented players, the other team might have one. And with football, you do need to have someone who can throw the ball and someone who can catch the ball. So um, in order to keep it fun and competitive for everyone, sometimes an easy little free agency in the game before the game, if it's obvious that the matchups are not competitive, um, try to make that move in order to make sure that everyone's challenged and we don't have a blowout. We're looking for highly competitive games that are challenging to both sides, ideally. Any team that is ahead by 2 scores or more will restrict themselves to passes only. This is B and C. A League is primarily a handoff league, although we do get passes out in the A League, and always happy to hear the cheers coming from those fields when we get a big pass. Um, D and up, they are passing only. B and C are transition league. We're trying to get them to pass, but definitely when they're up by 2 scores, they will pass only. Blocking for a teammate is limited to positioning of oneself in the way of the opposition. So we're not going to actually put hands on another player to block. We're going to be just in the way, so the defense has to go around that player. So you can still play as a teammate and blocking as far as being in the way, but we're going to discourage any blocking that results in knocking down or pushing or laying hands on another player. To borrow from the world of rugby, encourage ball carriers to run at spaces, not faces. We're not trying to mow somebody down or go head on with someone. We want to keep the fun components of football while reducing the chance of injury. Forward passes are to be attempted from behind the line of scrimmage only. Referees, when you have one referee on the line of scrimmage, they're to pay attention where that quarterback is throwing from. If they step over the line of scrimmage and the ball is still in their hands, we're going to blow that dead, that they crossed over the line of scrimmage with an attempted pass. So all passes are from behind the line of scrimmage. Make sure the players do not cross patterns. This used to be a big concern when we were trusting the players to know the routes. Now that we're using our play cards with the routes on them, this should be less of an issue. But we still need to pay attention as coaches and refs. The referee will blow a play dead if they see crossing, intentional crossing, or even unintentional. We do not want players crossing. The defense is unaware, and we just have a high chance of players getting injured, and we're playing without helmets, without shoulder pads. And again, we're just trying to keep the fun and challenging elements of the game without increasing the chances of injury. Remind players to use their mouth guards. That we spend as parents a lot of money on these young players' teeth. We want them to keep them. I know some players have a difficult time with that in their mouth. We want to encourage them. We're not going to throw a player out because they don't have a mouth guard, because some players do have a real issue with having that in their mouth for various reasons, sensitivity issues, and so forth. But we want to highly encourage the mouth guards. Okay, coaches. Um, the practice time before the game, try to get as many players as possible, uh, involve them before, during the practice, before the game starts. If there's a lot of players standing around and you have you, the coach, quarterbacking and throwing to one line, it just slows it down. Get the players out there. They should be quarterbacking. You should be calling plays. The receiver and defensive back should be out there. So they're really, especially in football, there shouldn't be anyone standing around. It's easy to get those kids rotating, and that's how they get warmed up. They get warmed up by running routes, by throwing balls, and practicing at defensive back. We don't need to waste time static stretching for the game. They're young players. They're going to get warmed up by playing the game. Um, we want them moving, not waiting along lines. As they warm up and start to increase their speed, then we'll work on the precision of their execution. But we'll start at 50% speed, then move on up, and then we'll work on proper routes before the game so that during the game they know what they're doing. So work on those routes, work on the precision of throwing and the timing, and ideally get those players quarterbacking. And we really, unless we just have a few players out there, we don't want the coach throwing the ball. We want the players learning how to throw the ball and the timing, because the coach does not get to throw the ball during the game. So it really doesn't help them a whole lot once you have 3 or more players on your field ready to practice. Any coach on the field should stay in the backfield so that spectators can see more. It's okay if the coach wants to be out there. I prefer to be out there, but in the background. Defense, I like to be back. Offense, once I call the play, I like to step back, but not going to stand on the side in the way of the spectators and the parents on the side. Okay. Teach the players to run sharp routes. That's the name of the game. If the players run the routes, they're designed to create separation from the defensive back, and they will get open. If the player does that, that's what we're working on as coaches, getting them to be disciplined to run the route the way it was designed. Please refrain from scripting your own plays. It slows the game down, increases the chance of crossing routes, which can lead to injuries. Also, if the coach comes up with their own plays and then that player goes on to play the next season, hopefully, and they won't know the routes, or if the coach that came up with his own plays misses a game or two, it doesn't help when a new coach has to step in for them. So preferably, football at its very fundamental level is a very basic game of getting open, and that comes down to properly run routes, very well executed, not crazy trick plays, just well run routes, at least in a passing league. Each player should, at minimum, get 2 passing attempts at receiver per game. We would prefer they get more. I know it can be hard sometimes when you're struggling as a team to get everyone a chance at the ball, but that is our priority, to get everyone involved in some attempt, either passing or throwing, preferably both. Not all players are going to want to throw the ball. That's okay. Try to encourage as many as you can to get out there and throw and catch. Now, the A League, which is mostly a handoff league, each player we're trying to attempt to get them 2 running attempts, so they get to run the ball a minimum 2 times per game. So um, that's on our list of things to do during a game, making sure all those players are getting equal chances to catch the ball and run the ball, as they all want to score. Okay, referees, a pretty simple job. We have 2 refs per game, and one if they stand on the line of scrimmage where you can see the ball get hiked, you can hear the opposing team count to 5 loudly, and you can see if the ball is over the line, if the quarterback still has the ball when they cross the line of scrimmage. So we're looking for that kind of stuff. We're also keeping track of downs, first, second, third, and fourth. Best way to do that is taking the ball, putting it on the line of scrimmage. I like to put my foot on the ball so the kids don't pick it up until I know that the offense and defense are both set. I hold up one hand and I show the down and I say it loudly. So preferably you put your foot on the ball until everyone is set. You say loudly what down it is, hold it up in your hand, what down it is, and then walk backwards. And then they can hike it, but you can also see the play as it develops. If after 4 downs, a first down or touchdown is not reached, the ball changes possession and starts at the goal line. Okay, so pretty easy. The other referee is usually back behind the defense. They can see where to place the ball and if there's any pass interference. If both referees are keeping track of the downs, it makes it easier just in case somebody misses one. And you can also both pay attention where that flag is pulled so you can accurately pinpoint where the new line of scrimmage will be. If a defense player crosses the line of scrimmage in leagues of B through F in less than 5 seconds, blow the play dead and advance the line of scrimmage 5 yards or half the distance to the goal line. We need to do that, otherwise a player will feel like quarterback will feel rushed to throw the ball, and then it ends up in an interception, and then it's very difficult to say that that play is dead because everyone is already excited about the fact that there's an interception and possibly a touchdown. So unfair to the offense when that happens. So when you see it and if they're counting too fast and it's not really at 5 seconds, we will blow that dead and advance 5 yards. Okay. And that is just being an A league. They won't cross line of scrimmage at all. It just gets too difficult for them. So there's no rush in the A league. They will stay behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, leagues A, B, and C. League A is primarily a handoff league. If the players are ready to pass, focus on short routes. We like to see and hear those short routes going on over there, and it's really exciting when we get those catches. League B and C are running and passing leagues with at least 50% offensive plays being pass attempts in the C league. Really, I would prefer that to be also in the B league. Really want those players learning how to pass. The first 2 plays of a series should be pass attempts. Okay. I don't want it just a running back and forth. That's not helping them develop at all. That's not exciting to watch. It gets a little boring. So we want those pass attempts going on. Even if we don't have actual catches, they will learn. And by the time they hit that 3rd game, we start to get good routes, we start to get catches, and it gets far better. Okay, now if a team is ahead by 2 or more touchdowns, all plays should be attempted passes. So preferably, we keep the runs for the B and C for the players that are not usually the ones catching the ball. So if we have some players on a team that are really good at throwing and catching, we like to reserve the runs for the players that are more new to the sport, maybe not have a lot of playing time. We like to keep it's a good chance for all those players to participate in the game, even if they're not at the point where they can throw or catch yet. So that's really up to the coaches paying attention to having the chance to get all of your players involved in the game. Okay. The defense may not cross the line of scrimmage in the A League. Okay. So there's no counting on that one. It's just they stay back and don't cross that line. Leagues D, E, and F is passing only. No player may run the ball from behind the line of scrimmage. All passes must cross the line of scrimmage. Defense. Defense. We do man-to-man or person-to-person coverage. Each defensive player covers or stays with one of the offense players during the play. There's no switching. There's no zone coverage. The defensive player may attempt to intercept or block the ball, but they may not touch the receiver. If there's a touching of the receiver that's more deliberate, and it's up to the referee to call that if they deem it to be impeding the ability for the offensive player to make a catch on the ball. It works both ways. If an offensive player is pushing a defensive player out of the way of the ball, that is also pass interference. So there should be minimal to no contact with the defense and the offense down the field. We have no zone coverage. Players stay with their players. Okay, not in areas. If they stay in areas, it increases our chances of collisions. We don't want it. 5-second rush. Defensive players may not cross the line of scrimmage until 5 seconds are counted clearly and loudly enough so the referee can hear it. Again, this is for B and up.